Okay, so today we start with human nutrition. We've already discussed what type of nutrition is shown by humans. So you can write the magic word. Yes, it is holozoic. Topics that we have already covered. In the current video, we'll try to cover these topics from human nutrition. Stomach, small intestine, liver, pancreas and large intestine. We'll try to cover the structure as well as the function. We start today with stomach. Food passes through buccal cavity, enters the esophagus and then it enters the stomach. Now at each entry point there is a gate to make sure that food goes only in one direction and not backwards. So between esophagus and stomach is the esophageal sphincter. Now the three characteristics of stomach that need to be studied are the unique shape of stomach which allows food to stay in the stomach for long time so that it is converted into a fluid form. Second, the muscular walls which keep the food moving while it is inside the stomach due to contraction and relaxation of the muscle walls. And then there are the gastric glands which are in the wall of the stomach lining. Now these gastric glands secrete three things. Pepsin, this is an enzyme which breaks down protein. The second thing is hydrochloric acid. Now why is HCl required in stomach? Pepsin is an enzyme and enzymes are very choosy. They work only when they have the optimum conditions. They are like Bollywood stars, heroes and heroines. So pepsin, like all enzymes, works at our body temperature. Higher or lower temperature, it stops working. Then it requires acidic pH. So hydrochloric acid of pH 1.5 to 3 is secreted to make the conditions suitable for the action of pepsin. Sometimes when there is no food in stomach, such as when you don't eat even after 2 hours of waking up in the morning, hydrochloric acid is still being secreted. What happens then? You get acidity. This is due to the HCl which starts to accumulate in your stomach. Now if there is an acid of pH 1.52 in your stomach, why doesn't it burn your stomach? It is because of this third component, the mucus. Mucus protects your stomach cells from the highly acidic HCl. This done, the food now enters the next organ, that is small intestine. But before that, it passes through the gate or sphincter. Now once food enters the long intestine, it has to pass through a very long coiled tube. Coiled because it is packed in a very small space. You can get an idea of the length of small intestine by looking at this image. It's approximately 6 to 7 meters in humans. This length marked 6. This is 6 to 7 meters in humans. So you need to coil it a lot in order to fit it in your abdomens. Now the small intestine is even longer in herbivores. Why? Because herbivores feed on cellulose, which is very difficult to digest. Now carnivores like tiger, they feed on meat, which is much easier to digest. Now small intestine secretes its own intestinal juice that digests food entering the small intestine, but it also has two helping organs, the pancreas and the liver. So these three together make sure that complete digestion of food, carbohydrates, fats and proteins takes place in the small intestine. Now before we discuss the role of these three players, let's see the respective location of liver, pancreas and small intestine. Now you can see this is the small intestine in the abdomen. Just above this, the leaf-like structure is the pancreas and this large red colored structure is the liver. Now liver. You recall that acid was released in stomach for pepsin. Now the acidic food reaches in small intestine where enzymes from two sources are released, the pancreas and the small intestine itself. The pancreas and small intestine release enzymes which do not work in acidic condition. So now this acidic condition has to be neutralized and alkaline conditions need to be created. So what liver does? It secretes bile juice which makes the food alkaline. Now next, have you seen oil in water? When you shake it, it forms small drops known as globules. These globules make it difficult for enzymes to break down the fats in our food. So bile juice breaks these fat globules into smaller drops. This process is known as emulsification of fats. Now pancreas, they secrete pancreatic juice and the glands in the wall of small intestine secrete intestinal juice. Now both of these together will digest our food completely. Now quickly, some enzymes of pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Now what is the end result of the action of all these enzymes? In the small intestine, all nutrients are broken down into smallest possible particles. Starch and other carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, that is the simplest sugars. Proteins are broken down into amino acids and fats to fatty acids and glycerol. Now these need to be transported to blood so that the blood can carry them to the cells for. Now inside the intestine are some finger-like structures. These are known as villi. Inside the villi are the blood vessels that take up digested food. And thus food passes from the cavity of your intestine, the black region, into the villi and then into the vessels which will now carry them to the cells. So if complete digestion and absorption is done in small intestine, what does the large intestine do? Two very important functions. It receives water along with the undigested food. Now first, from this mixture it will absorb water, and second, it removes undigested food which is egested through the anus. So waste material is discarded and water from this mixture is absorbed in large intestine. Again, for egestion there is the anal sphincter which is a gate at the anus. Now, one very important topic. What you see here is the tooth. The white visible portion of your tooth is the enamel. It is the hardest known substance. Now what you see is how this enamel is damaged. The yellow deposition that you see on the left is plaque. Plaque is food particle that sticks to your teeth after you eat. This plaque attracts bacteria which start to feed on it. In the process, it releases acid. Now, this acid weakens the enamel of our teeth, which leads to tooth decay or dental caries. How to protect your teeth from tooth decay? You should rinse your mouth properly after every meal and brush at least twice a day. On that note, we end the topic of nutrition. Here are your recap questions. Try solving them after watching the lecture. Good luck. We'll get back with the next topic soon. Bye-bye.